the most wonderful real estate podcast ever. The show that gives you the lowdown on how to become a successful real estate entrepreneur. With more than 30 years of experience, America's top female real estate investor Dwan is an expert in financial freedom and turning dreams into realities. Now's your chance to become a Dwandernaire with the help of Dwan. Here's to a flaming hot foreclosure market with the help of Dwan. Cheers.
Hey everybody, welcome to the most wonderful real estate podcast ever. I'm your host, Dwan Twyford. I'm America's most sought after real estate investor. I'm super excited to bring you another amazing episode of Inside the Minds of today's Millionaires. And this is the new you in 22. So you're going to hear that on every show through all of 2022, because whatever changes you've been needing to make, haven't made, thinking about making, this is your time, new you in 22. And if you are a fan of the show and a follower, you know I interview all kinds of super interesting people, and they never know what questions, truly, they don't know what questions I'm going to ask them. And our goal is to find out what is inside the mind of somebody that is actually doing what you're thinking about doing. What did they do? What step did they take? What helped them cross over that barrier? And how do you also learn from them and do the same thing? So today, Gary, I want to welcome you to the show.
Thank you. I'm glad you're here. Yeah. It's wonderful. I've been thinking about it, and I'm ready to rock and roll.
Yay. Yep. So we have Gary Wilson. So folks, he's realestateWithGaryWilson.com. I love his show, Massive Passive Cash Flow Podcast. That says exactly what it is right there. So I'm super excited to have you on. I would like to start off with a little toast. We do cheers. I'm drinking water, and I know you are too. So cheers to you.
Cheers.
Always good to start off with a little toast, and welcome to the new year.
Yep.
Welcome you to the show. Everybody take a breath. Everybody do a stretch. Clear your mind. Okay. So that way it clears your mind, gives you a little bit of a oxygen boost, and we can have a fun show. All right, so Gary. So I like to start off. I'm gonna put you on the spot just a minute. I just want you to just tell us the summary, who you are, how we get in touch with you, what's your show, what you do, and then we're gonna backtrack and see how you got there.
Cool. Well, it all started in Grafenberg, Germany, January 5th, 1963.
Don't go back too far, because I have to ask some questions that bring you up.
It's going to be relevant. Yep. So I was born in a Army field clinic on the Czech border, and there was a massive blizzard. They couldn't take me by ambulance anywhere. So they had to fly me by helicopter. Actually, they thought I was going to be born on the helicopter, and I was born literally going out to the tarmac. And the helicopter was going up and down, left and right, and there's no heat, and just chaotic. We land in Nuremberg, and Stars and Stripes magazine is there taking pictures, because they assumed I was born in the air. So that was like right out of the gate. I'm like, holy smokes, this life thing's pretty cool here, you know? So fast forward, we moved around a bit. My parents split up, and I ended up going to college at Old Dominion University in Norfolk, Virginia. Not because I was some kind of a genius, because my mom filled out the paperwork. So in any case, the fortuitous thing here is this. I was able to become friends with lots of people from all over the world as we grew up, living around Washington, D.C., New York, Europe, you name it. So I was used to hanging around people from all over the place, speaking different languages, eating different foods. So my college roommate, freshman year, is named Socrates. He and I are still friends today. He lives in Port St. Lucie, Florida.
Yeah, nice.
When we graduated, his dad was, of course, a Greek immigrant, told us, he said, you know what, you boys aren't going to rent. You're going to buy, and I'm going to make sure that if you do everything I tell you to do, you won't have to work for anybody else when you're 35 years old. So we're 22, 23 years old. He never gave us a dime, but he helped us get that first house. Virginia Beach, Virginia. It was a 4-bedroom, 2-bath rancher. We assumed the first mortgage, refinanced the second, gave another note for the third, total creative financing right out of the gate. And 2 years later, I get married, and Sock bought me out, and I moved to Pittsburgh. Well, here's the bottom line. I had a total of like $3,000 into the place. The 2 other guys we rented to pretty much paid everything. And then I got another $8,000 when I moved and Sock bought me out. 10 years goes by. I'm waking up in Pittsburgh working, and I'm thinking, I wish I'd have done what Mr. Devet told me, because at the closing table, he invited us to go to his beach, one of his beach houses at the Outer Banks where we went. And on the deck, we're looking out over the ocean, and he's pounding his chest. And he's saying, if you boys do what I tell you to do, you won't have to work for anybody else when you're 35 years old. And I was, of course, starry-eyed, and we didn't, Sock and I, we're kids. We didn't listen. We bought a boat, and we bought a VW van to tow the boat, and life. We're going to throw parties, and his dad kept telling us, don't be stupid. I kept hearing that. Don't be stupid. So in any case, when I'm 35, I'm thinking I need to do what he told me, because I was not born to be sitting behind a desk in a corporate world, So I started investing, doing what he taught me. And 5 years later, I left the corporate world with 45 units, and I was making enough money to match my corporate income. I didn't have all the benefits, but that came later. So that's really how it all got started.
Well, that's
now
good. That's right. Real quick, tell everybody how to get a hold of you, because some people just listen for a minute and they pop off the show. So I always want your contact information in the beginning of the show notes. So how does everybody get a hold of you? All the ways to find Gary Wilson.
Yep. So go to the you can go to my email. It's gary@rewgw.com. But the easiest thing to do is go to the website, realestatewithgarywilson.com. On the homepage, you can click there. If you're what we call an investor agent, or you want to learn what that is, click on to learn more, and you just give me a name and email, phone number, and I'll call you. Or up top it says work with me. Click on that, and it's a little bit of an interview. You type in where you are.
Love it.
That's it. Yep.
Love it. And your podcast, Massive Passive Cash Flow Podcast, which I love that as well. Okay, correct. So easy to find, easy to get a hold of. So tell me, how old are you right now, Gary?
I just turned 59, brand spanking new. Yep.
No, you're just a pop still.
I am. I don't feel like day over 58.
When I turned 59, oh, I'm going to be 60. 60 is going to be so fun. Yep. I was really excited. People were like, oh my God, aren't you so bummed about how old you're getting? I was like, no, I feel amazing. I'm running a business. I'm successful. I'm so excited to be 60.
Yeah. Well, tomorrow I wake up and I go to Florida. So
there you go. Where are you going in Florida?
The Gulf Coast near Sarasota. Perfect. So I'll be there till the first week of February. Perfect. And then I come back up north for a month. Then I go back down there for 3 months. So
I love it. Nothing wrong with snowbirding in Florida. I love Florida too. So, all right. So now you're born. So you were born on the airfield.
Yep.
In Germany.
That's it. Yeah.
That is so cool. So did you get like your picture taken by the magazine? Like, oh my God, here's a baby that they thought was born in the air.
Yep. Yeah. The Stars and Stripes magazine, the whole story came out. And, so my mom, she said when they were in the air, they had her strapped into a gurney wearing the nurse's coat, and the nurses strapped into a bunker seat trying to hold me in a cardboard box wrapped up in the army wool blanket type thing. And she was crying because the things went up and down. And my mom told me, she said, when I turned 50, she said, your whole life has been like that. It's just, you're a wild ride. She said, God bless the woman that ever marries you, because it's going to be a life of adventure. And that's what it's like.
And you've been married since you were 22.
I got married. That was actually 25 when I got married. So Sock and I had fun for a couple of years, and then I got married, and then moved to Pittsburgh. And I got married 25, moved to Pittsburgh when I was 20, almost 29. Yep.
And still married?
Nope.
No, not married. Okay, that's right. Yep. Hey, my husband, Bill, people are always like, oh, and I'm like, no, listen, Bill's my third husband. But I did get it right. I married him when I was 42, 43, and we're getting ready to have our 20-year anniversary. So it took me till I was in my 40s. I had one in my 20s, one in my 30s. But then I was like, okay, now I'm grown up enough to be married.
Congratulations.
Yep. It took me a few times to get it right, but I got it right with this one. And I said, listen.
I did like being married. I mean, I do like that. I'm not like I don't go out to the clubs every night. So I looking forward to that again. All
right, girls, check him out. He's super cute. He's super successful. Look at that cuteness, blue eyes, gray hair, and he's single. So this is also your dating pool.
Cool. Hey, that's a good idea. I like it.
You should be doing every podcast you're on. Just say, by the way, just so everybody know, I'm still single.
Yeah, my sister, she said, just stop working and put yourself out there, so people know you're out there. But I just, I'll do it. I'm going to go out when I'm in Florida. I'm going to go out. That's what I'll do.
Well,
So,
you know what? I think I had told you this when we talked the other day. I was a single mom. My husband left when my daughter was only 8 months old. So I was just really nose to the grindstone for a long time because I'm raising my kid. I'm a single mom. And my thing was, I said, I will never date a real estate investor because I was a real estate investor. I ran a RIA group. I was like, I'm never dating an investor. Never, never, never. I'm not going to. And so I wasn't looking, wasn't doing anything. I went to a RIA meeting and there was this man and my heart kind of was like, "Ooh, Lord have mercy." And like 3 days later, we were making plans to get married. So not
cool.
only did I break my cardinal rule about never marrying an investor, I married an investor who was a major investor. And then we worked together and did it. And it's been amazing. So it's not even about putting yourself out there. I just think when the right time, God will just bring you someone
That's
and
it.
you'll go like, wow.
Yeah.
Because I was definitely not looking. I was all in the single mom zone. And, I had a RIA and I had a house and a boat and a car and rentals. And I think I'm all that. I'm making it happen. And then I met Bill and I was like, well, maybe I could add something else to my life over here.
There you
So
go.
very unexpected, but I had prayed about it for a while. So when I met him, I was like, wow, okay, that was worth the wait. So I was single for 13 years.
Yeah.
Single for a long time, but it was worth it because I didn't have to mess around with all the dating, and I met like an amazing guy, and he's in real estate too. And together we work, we raise kids, we've got grandkids, and it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So nothing wrong with enjoy your single time, but when the right one comes along.
I agree.
Being married is great to the right person because I had 2 cracks at it and not great at all. So it definitely depends on the person. So I really love that. And so you said you moved all around. So like when you were like 13, 14, 15, what was Gary Wilson? Like, were you a good kid? Were you in trouble? Where were you living? Like, where was your mind as you're like a young teen?
Yeah, I was actually all over the map. So my parents had separated years before, and we moved to Columbia, Maryland. And I was always a pretty good kid, kind of a quiet kid. When I started growing, like sixth, seventh, eighth grade, I went through puberty early. I was shaving when I was in the seventh grade.
Oh my God! How old are you in the 7th grade?
12 years old. So I
Oh
started
my
going through.
gosh! You were shaving when you were 12?
Yeah, not like all over, but I had to start shaving because it was whiskers were coming out. And the thing is, I was pretty good at school. I was bored at school. I just Dwan, I've never really been a conformist. I just don't like being confined. I don't want to be in a building. I want to be outdoors. If I could sleep outdoors, I would do it. But I was good at stuff. Everything I tried, I just went all for it. I'm one of those people. I just dig in. I just go all in. So my stepdad turned me on to football, and I'm like, man, this is freaking awesome. I'm out there thinking about it, 12, 13 years old. I'm one of the biggest kids in the league. So I'm just like running over people, crushing people, just like they have me play offense and defense,
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like a high energy person. I had this amazing stamina. I don't know where it comes from, but I keep going. I just never stop. And I thought this is the coolest thing in the world. That's what I want to do. But I also had friends who were goofballs, and I had friends who were really smart. So I had friends from all over the place, and we were always tinkering with bikes and skateboards and making things, building ramps and just like, not so. So needless to say, my mom has had to go to the emergency room on several occasions because of my adventurous antics. I was constantly building. We would dig holes to build forts on the ground. We would build forts in the trees. We were just never. And the cool thing is there was no. Think about it back then. There were no computer games.
No, it was so nice back then. Kids don't know they don't know what they're missing.
Oh, I had the best time. When I was 15, they let me go up to Vermont with a friend of mine skiing for a week. Now, granted, we were staying at somebody's house up there, but on the way up, we were on the bus. Nobody had a chaperone. They let us go on our own.
Yeah.
But I was the kind of kid that my mom knew I could hold my own. Other people like my brother you couldn't give him that kind of freedom, but my mom knew. She knew, just let me spread my wings and fly. And I can remember as a kid, and I still have this dream today, that I can just take a few steps and run a little bit and take off and fly and start flapping my arms. And people have told me, that means you're a free spirit, and you
Yeah,
can't
it is.
be. Nobody should try to constrain you because you won't last.
Now, and
So
you know what? Then I say I'm a super much a free spirit as well. And
yeah,
when you're like that, should you ever find yourself getting married, you got to make sure that person either is or understands that free spirit concept, because people like you and
yeah,
I feel super trapped
yeah,
if we don't have that. Like, I love the fact that I can work from my house. I'm at my dad's. I'm in Ohio. I can like do stuff from here.
yeah.
I actually flipped a house yesterday up here from someone I know, and I called someone else, and I was like, okay, so even like, so you can do it everywhere. But when you really are a free spirit, I think we're creative naturally. But people have to really understand like that. That is, I think you're just born with that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
And when people try to, that's why I didn't do good in like the factory jobs and all the things that I was like, hey, do this. And I was
yeah,
like, oh man, there's no way I'm going to be able to work here for until I'm 60 years old. That's never going to happen.
yeah.
So I'm super thankful that I was able to find something for myself. So I love that. So you were like athletic football. You were just like being a guy, filming
That's
forward,
it.
digging holes, going poppy fishing, doing stuff,
That's it.
playing
Yeah,
sports. That's good. So you were a good kid. Now,
yeah. I was
were
a
you
good kid. There
thinking
was.
about business yet? Like, was there any
Oh
place you're
yeah.
like, hey, how do I make money?
Man, I was ever since I can remember. I was designing houses when I was 8 years old. I was designing houses like architectural plans when I was 8 years old. Even before at 5 years old, I was able to do multiplication in my head. You know, and we would go out somewhere, and our parents would go on vacation. Our parents would give us each $5 or something. Our brother or sister come back broke, but with candy. I'd come back with 25 bucks, you know, and the candy. So I was always, figuring out a way. I mean, if I take this and add that, I can create something, I can sell it, and somebody will buy it. I had a paper out when I was 9 years old in the dark when Bigfoot was out. When I was 12 years old, I had my first regular full-time job delivering flowers for a florist, made a lot of tip money. Then I worked at a produce store. And by the time I was 15, I was able to open up the store and close it down at 15 years old. That's the stuff I was
That's
doing.
a lot. That's a lot of responsibility for someone that young to have someone
Yep.
let you open and close their store.
Yep. So I just always had just laser beam focus, work ethic,
Yep.
and discipline, and just perseverance. I just wanted to be the best at whatever I was doing. I didn't even care about other people in competition. It just never entered my mind.
Yeah.
In my mind, like I'm competing against myself. That's the best way I can describe it.
I love that. Like, really, the best thing you can do is compete against yourself. Because when you start
Yep.
comparing yourself to everybody else, and I want to be better than this guy, and this guy, and this guy, you only know what you see on the surface. You don't really know what's behind that person. And do you really
Yeah.
want to be better or the same? Because you don't really know what that person's doing in the background. So, one thing I find, so I've had my podcast for 4 years, and I started 1 year ago interviewing people. So I did all the shows, and I started interviewing people. And the one thing I find, every single person, including you, every single person was doing something to earn money when they
Yeah.
were like under 10.
Oh yeah.
Everybody, whether they were babysitting, paper route, mowing yards, they weren't like 15, 16, they were under 10. And they were
Yep.
already figuring out how they were going to make money. And you said you were designing your 8, paper route at 9. So every
Yep.
single person. So I think
Yep.
that's a thing for everyone to think about, like what is inside the minds of the millionaires and the successful people, as they were thinking about making money way before I'm sure their parents thought that they should.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
my kids are the same way. My daughter was went and got her little Red Cross certificate, and she was babysitting. She was like 10. I'm
Yeah.
gonna get my Red Cross certificate. I want to babysit. I'm like, what? So that's learning how to do CPR and the Heimlich and da. I'm like, you're 10 years old. I know. I'm gonna babysit. I was like, all right. So she's down there 10 years old, doing her CPR to learn the Heimlich, and she's babysitting. I was like, holy cow, like so young. So
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, that is one super consistent thing. So I love to hear that
Yeah.
from you as well. Now, whenever I do interview someone that says, oh, yeah, I didn't do anything until I was 30, I'm not going to say, well, everybody else.
Yeah.
Everybody else started younger, but so far it's 100%. So I think that
Cool.
is part of our success, is that I think naturally we start thinking about
Yeah.
it when we're young.
Yeah. what's amazing is how I think we naturally attract each other too. I know when I'm going to visit some of my friends in Florida, and they were students of mine several years ago, and they're going on a 2-week cruise.
Yeah.
They're coming back. They've got an RV. They got properties on the water.
Yeah.
They house hack. They do Airbnb,
Yeah.
and they have a brokerage company. They have an investor club. They have property management business. They get it all tied together.
Yeah.
And in March, they're going away for 3 months, and they're already just to go around the country, because
Yeah.
they can. And they're hard workers. They're driven, and they understand, the whole thing about real estate, which is everybody needs it, whether you're renting or owning. Everybody needs it. Unless
they
you're like
do.
me, you can live in a tent. I can live in a tent if I had to.
I could, but I
So,
would not like it.
yeah,
I grew up out here in Ohio, and at the time, this house was on 10 acres. There was really no neighbors, and there's a river not far back here, and my dad's a deer hunter. So we grew up, we would have all of our friends come over, and we set up a tent down by the river. So we're like
right,
9 years old. We're sleeping in the tent. We're allowed
yeah,
to have a tent and a fire and everything down by the river. It's like,
yep,
who would let their kids do that today?
yep,
20
yeah,
kids come down, and everybody, and we weren't doing anything that, we shouldn't have been doing
yeah,
just yet. Not just
yeah,
yet.
yeah. Is that
Okay,
at
so
the
now,
Ohio River?
this is the Stillwater River. My dad lives on the
Stillwater River.
Stillwater River.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah,
we were, yeah, I mean, when I think back, it's like, gosh, if my kids are like, hey, I'm going to go set up a tent and 20 of my friends are coming over, we're going to camp down by the river and make a big old fire and all this stuff, I would
yeah,
be like, are you crazy? But yeah, you're right.
yeah,
It was a time where our parents had a lot of faith in us. And I think that as kids, I don't know, I know for me growing up in Ohio, I was a lot more mature than some of the kids are today at their same age because we
yeah.
were given a lot of freedom and responsibility.
That's it.
And
The
my
two
dad
go
was
hand in
strict.
hand.
It's like if I broke the trust, I was grounded for I got grounded for 3 months one time. I would be grounded for super long periods of time.
Wow.
So I did not want to break the trust because I didn't want to miss anything.
Yep.
And I was grounded like you can't answer the phone, you can't go outside. They didn't have, even answering machines back then in the 70s. I was in school. So if I even answered the phone, my dad's
Yep.
tricking the sea and I'd answer, I'd be in trouble. So I would be like grounded from society.
Yep.
It only took like that to happen like 2 times. I was like, okay, I'm not ever getting in trouble again. That is way too much. So now I like your massive passive cash flow. So
Okay.
what is give me like 3 tips of what does massive passive cash flow mean to you? Are we talking rentals? Are we talking commercial? What are we talking?
Yes. What it amounts to is this. We're all out there engaged in a certain set of activities, us being real estate investors, all right?
Yep.
We're identifying properties, we're analyzing properties, we're negotiating properties, we're renting out properties, we're managing properties, we're wholesaling properties, we're lease optioning properties, we're doing all these activities, okay? Well, the reality is there are other people doing the same thing. So you can either be like head-to-head competitors with those folks,
Yep.
or you can be what I call a collaborative or cooperative competitors with those folks and share with them some of what you know and what you do, and more importantly, offer them a valuable and necessary service. So for me, what that meant was I'm out there investing. I can't buy everything. I'd like to, but I can't. Okay. And I got frustrated by the fact that most real estate agents weren't able to really help me. They wanted to, good people, but they were not trained to help you and I invest in real estate, let alone themselves. So I
Yeah.
thought, you know what? I've been screwed. I'm gonna, get my license. I'm gonna get my realtor's license. I didn't want anybody knowing I had my license because I wanted to just do it for me, and I didn't want to be the quote unquote, Sunday open house, cookies in the oven. That's not me. I never did that, by the way. So I built this brokerage for me to invest, and I was
You built a
teaching.
brokerage.
Yep, yep.
So, I never did get my real estate license. I started rehabbing and then wholesaling. I never did get my license. So I
Yep.
love that. So you got a brokerage. So you're
So,
wheeling and dealing.
yep. Now, initially, I was just a regular realtor. You got to have so many transactions to be able to be a broker and all that.
Okay.
So what was happening is while I was just a regular realtor, a local teacher who taught real estate investing heard about me, invited me to be on his radio program. And I said, sure, that sounds awesome, man. Went in there Saturday morning, 8 o'clock business show. He called me Monday and said, man, I never got so much business out of a radio program than when I had you on. Could you come back again? I said, hell yeah, man, that was fun. And then he said,
Yeah.
He said, would you come to my class one day? Just come and have lunch with people. Let them get to know you. Let them see you're a regular guy and they can do it too. I said, absolutely. Well, that turned into me coming once a month on a half a day for Saturday to teach one particular lesson. They all started finding out I have my license. They all wanted me to be their agent. I said, look, guys, I don't do that. I'm sorry. I don't drive the Mercedes with
Right.
the nice shoes and crap like that. But so after about 1,000 times, I realized, well, maybe God's trying to tell me something. So I went in one class and I said, look, here's the deal. I can take 2 of you on. So what happens when you tell a group of 25 people that only 2 of them can do the thing that they all want to do?
They all want to be your best friend.
That's it. Create scarcity, urgency. And I was like, ta-da! The light went off and I'm thinking, thank you, Lord. So that's when I realized I can build another stream of business, another stream of income coming from the same activities I was already doing. I'm just helping other people.
Yeah.
Remember the famous quote from Zig Ziglar, helping if other people get what they want, and you'll get plenty of what you want. I want to rephrase that. Helping if other people get what you want, and you'll get plenty of what you want. If they want the same thing, which is real estate, right?
Yeah.
So I built a brokerage. Now fast forward, what does every landlord need? They need property management. So I said, okay, I'm going to start a property management company, right? So now I got brokerage and property management. What else does every investor need? They need money, right? So I started a lending business. Then I had and you get a loan, what do you got to have? You got to have an appraisal. Oh, great. I'll start an appraisal business. Hey guys, you don't have to be an attorney to have a settlement company, right? I'm a settlement company too. And the funny thing is I went to take the title exam with a room full of attorneys. I passed it the first time,
Nice.
Because I'd already done thousands of transactions. So back to massive passive cash flow method. What it means is if you're going to be in the world of real estate, immerse yourself, right? Like be the investor, be the broker. You don't have to do the work. Just own the business and other people do the work. So now I'm profiting all these different ways. And eventually, of course, I became a teacher myself, which was what I really loved because I always dreamed of me being in front of people on a stage, speaking and making people laugh and stuff like that. And it started happening one day at a time, one class at a time, till it got to the point I was literally teaching every single day, every week, every month, traveling nonstop, constantly, sometimes 2 classes a day. And it is fun. Let me tell you, it's addicting, but it's hard on the human body. Yep.
It is. I love it. I was so shy, like so shy in high school. And people that know me, they're like, I find that impossible to believe. I'm like, no, I was so shy. But in my 20s, I was living in Florida. So I'm 63. So, it would have been like, the 80-ishes. And I started going to those Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, like, woohoo. And I remember the first time I thought, you know what? I want to do that.
Yeah.
And then I thought, okay, in order to do that, I can't be this shy person because no one up there looks like they're very shy. So way back, I started going to seeing the Zig Ziglar and the Les Brown and the Tony Robbins and just like, and being like, oh, I'm fired for, months. And as soon as I started learning a little bit about real estate, I started teaching too. It's like, well, I'm going to tell them what I'm doing. I mean, if I can do it, they can do it. And now I'm like, the bigger the crowd, the better it is for me. But gosh, I never imagined I would do that. And it is addicting. I really love teaching. I really love it. And I get really excited when someone sends me a copy of their check. And I was like, oh, I helped them do that. And they say, hey, I quit my job. And I was like, oh, it makes you feel good.
Yeah, it does.
Contributing to the betterment of society.
What feels really good is, it doesn't happen all the time because people get busy and move on in lives. But like, if you're like me, I'm like my own worst critic. I'm thinking, man, am I doing well enough? Do the people, are they doing what I'm asking them to do? All these things. Every now and then you'll get one of those, God will give you the golden nugget. Somebody's going to call you up out of the blue and say, Dwan, I just want to thank you for what you taught me, 6 years ago. You might not even remember them, but they'll say, I just retired and so grateful because you taught me how to invest in real estate. My husband now is terminally ill. And now I have the luxury of being with them and helping them in their final years, all because that's just like, for everybody listening here, I don't know how you can put that into words. You can't put a price on it. It's like when you learn how to ride a bike without training wheels and your mom or dad took the training wheels off, right? And you're running down the street on your bike when they're training wheels and you're free and you're smiling from ear to ear. Well, behind you, what you couldn't see was your mom or dad jumping in the bound, pumping their fists because they could set you free. That's the
right.
feeling. That's the feeling I'm talking about. And I
Yeah.
hope for everybody could experience that because it's the most amazing thing in the world, you know?
It really is. You know, I had someone just in the last 6 months. They worked with me. I trained them 8 years ago.
Mhm.
Never heard from them. Like it was, and I was like, okay, you lose touch. They called me literally out of the blue. And this
Mhm.
guy's like, hey, I've done 750 deals. I'm married. I live on the beach in California. I did this and this and this and this. And I was like, seriously? He goes, you were the only person I listened to way back then. You said, don't be all over the map. Find a person that you like. Find a moral compass you agree with. Follow somebody and let that person teach you what they know and cut your learning curve. And I was just like, I was so stunned and taken back by it because I have closed 750 deals. And I was like, wow, are you kidding me?
Nice.
I was so excited. I was like, yeah, and you're right. I was like, for weeks, I was like, wow, look what Keith did. Like it is. There's a lot to be said for that because it's important, I think, to help change life. For me, I feel like kind of it's like God's mission is you got to help change people's lives and help people be better. So
Yeah.
I love that. So do you still always do all those things? Renting, management, lending, appraisal, you do all that?
Now what I do is this. I took it to a whole new level. So instead of it being like a local setup, which was what it was for years, I went around the country in US and Canada teaching for 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
literally over 1,000 classes. All those people I taught, I'm thinking, I'm going to do what I'm doing now, but I want to do it on a national scale. And I don't feel like I need to own everything anymore. I don't need that attachment. I'm
Yeah.
okay. I mean, I'm free. I have no debt. I'm like, I want the thrill of what I just described about the riding a bike without training wheels. I want that, but for many, many more people around the country. It's
Yeah.
a higher level of thinking. You got to think at a whole new level,
Yeah.
not just with the people I'm helping. So I built a network of agents we call investor agents around the country. We're 132 agents strong in 28 states. And we're
Nice.
getting, yeah, so we help investors. And they're all taught. I teach them all how to identify, analyze, and negotiate deals on and off market. Okay. Well, they all need property management. So look, we're going to do property management, but this time we're going to do it on a national scale. We're starting that next month. Okay. Now
Nice.
I'm not going to be doing the title and all that stuff anymore because that's not a fun business. Sorry, folks, if you're in the business, it's you can make a lot of money, but it's
Very
not like
paperwork intensive.
oh my gosh, yeah. But I will tell you what is going to be fun is we're creating a hub to match lenders and borrowers, i.e., people with money that want to lend it privately and investors who want to fund their transactions, but in a much more commercialized way that's free and fun and avoids the legally, by the way, avoids all the headaches and hangups of doing traditional conventional borrowing. I'm not knocking big banks. I've made a lot of money.
No,
Thank
no,
goodness.
no. I'm with you though. So they can
Yeah.
find all about that at realestatewithgarywilson.com.
Yeah, we haven't built the hub yet, but we're actually built the prototype for it for another thing we're doing, which is called corporate. We're
Is this like a
commercializing.
scoop? Just Dwanderful have like a scoop of something that's getting ready to be launched?
Yeah. Well, we've already talked to, I'll just give you a hint here. So I'm in pretty close with a couple people in the life insurance business, and people that have life insurance, if they have the correct kind, have cash value.
Yes.
And many of them are looking for a way to deploy their funds. And it's a one-on-one thing here and there. We figured out how to make it a just like Airbnb, right? An online hub where you have a portal for the owners and a portal for the lenders and portal for the people that actually do the transaction, the people in settlement.
Yeah.
So we built the original hub for corporate housing. So if you think about the last 2 years, one of the greatest needs is temporary housing for traveling nurses. Okay.
Oh, so much. Yes.
Yeah. They need it for anywhere between a month and less than a year. So just like Airbnb did, we're corporatizing or commercializing the called the corporate housing sector. And we've already got a prototype up and running. The person I have running it was one of my oldest students. I just give his name, Dan Levy, entrepreneur through and through. The guy's it attracts money. Money just sticks to him, he's an entrepreneur through and through. So I knew he was the right guy to do it. Well, what we're doing is we're going to copy or clone that hub for the lending business. So everybody hold on to your hands for that. So that's the kind of stuff we're doing now, Dwan. So
I want to be an affiliate, so count me in on that.
you got it, man. So I'm having like the best time.
Oh.
I'm able to utilize everything I've learned and developed over the years and help others. And what's interesting is I tell them, because they say, how much do you want? I say, well, you're going to own it. I'm going to show you how to build your business. Now, what I do take is a royalty, but I want them to have that sense of owner. I already own the global investor agent team, that network of agents, and that network is what we're utilizing and leveraging for all these things we're doing. The lending hub.
I love it. You're like, you're not local, you're global.
That's it, man.
Global.
Yep.
I know, but you know what?
Yep.
I love it.
It
I'm
works
gonna have the
because
#1 real estate investing podcast in the whole world. So I'm like, why not? Somebody's got to be #1. Why can't it be me?
Yeah. Well, think about it. Investors today, when I first started investing, I invested in my one little town.
Me too.
Nowadays, investors are investing wherever they can invest because they can invest wherever they want to.
Because they can.
Yeah. And we're taking.
I'm in Ohio. I put together in the last 3 weeks I've been up here. I put 2 deals together up here. It's like I got all kinds of time, and so it's like just I make a little money while I'm up here.
Yeah. So that's massive passive cash flow method. That's the method is take what you're doing, like your hand. You got your hand with a palm and 5 fingers. Most people just work with their thumb. They're buying and selling rentals or flipping rooms, whatever. You know what? You got at least 4 other ways you can generate revenue from that same set of activities without creating another set of activities. You leverage what you've already got. That's key,
I love that so much. You have no idea how much I love that. So let's jump off on a couple other things. Let me ask you a couple other random questions. What's your favorite band of all time?
Oh man.
You only got to pick one. You gotta pick one.
All right. I gotta tell you, okay. I'm gonna say Led Zeppelin.
Ooh.
Yep. Beatles, I can't live without Beatles, but Led Zeppelin, man, those guys, I mean, just amazing,
So good.
Yep.
It's funny because when you can tell so much about a person by the kind of music they listen to. So much.
Hard, fast driving. Yep.
Yeah, I love Led Zeppelin too. And Led Zeppelin was like, I mean, I was, coming up in the high school in the 70s and like Led Zeppelin and like the Aerosmith and all those bands and Floyd and all that music was like, oh my gosh, it was like the best music.
Yep. I like a good blues riff, a good blues rhythm with a really hard, fast lead guitar riff.
Yep. That's my favorite music. Blue, like Down and Dirty Blues with like good guitar. That is my #1. If I have one thing to listen to for life, that's it.
Yep. The thing is, I can't drive while I'm listening to it because I'll just hit the gas and 300 miles an hour going on 95, man. So.
I know, some Stevie Ray Vaughan thing. I just listen to it on my phone all the time. It's like, oh my God, I love that music.
Yep.
So, what's your favorite food? I know you've lived all over the place. You got a lot of choices. What's your favorite thing to eat?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I was going to say pizza, which is true, but my mom makes this amazing flank steak that she marinates in Italian dressing all night long. She slices it against the grain, so it's more tender. And then you got mashed potatoes and asparagus or something on the side. But that's it. Yeah.
Flank steak, mom's flank steak. I don't know. You may have to give me that recipe. That sounds pretty yum. Now, most people, I find, not everybody, but most people have they have like one place in the world when you're at this place, wherever it is, that you're just like, everything is right with the world. This is the best place in the world. Where's your spot? Do you have a spot?
The beach. Absolutely the beach, So I love the mountains. I'm in the mountains right now. But again, that's my life. I'm like, I can't really be pinned down to one thing, but I would say if God said, hey man, it's either going to be the beach or the mountains, I'd have to go with the beach just by our nose hair,
Me too. I'm very blessed to have a house in Delray Beach, Florida by the ocean and a house in Colorado at 9,000 feet in the mountains. But if I was like pinned down, it's like beach all day. Yep. No question. But the mountains are beautiful too. I feel really lucky to have both. But I am a through diehard beach girl. Yeah. Any beach, anywhere, like just water. Even if I'm near water, a lake, a stream, just sitting there. Just nothing about the water. Just My soul
What,
just goes, oh, this is so great.
well, I'll tell you something. I still have it's called a cruiser. It's this 3-foot skateboard
Uh-huh.
called Z-Flex. I still have that. I keep it with me wherever I go, because if
You
I'm in
still ride
California,
it?
oh, hell yeah. Yeah. If I'm in California, Florida, that's how I go to dinner. I take my skateboard to dinner. I don't deal with
Fun.
traffic and parking, all that crap. So I have my, when I was teaching all around that, you'd last, I had in my car, my skis, my boogie board,
Yep.
my skateboard. And if I could have fit in my kayak and my paddleboard too, I'd have done that in my bike. But it's just,
Yep.
I'm ready wherever I am. I always have something I can do for fun like that,
I do that. When we're in Florida, we live only a mile actually from the beach in a gated community. So I ride my bike everywhere. But I have we're on a lake, so I will sometimes paddleboard over to the other side of the lake, and I can get up over there and then I paddleboard back. And Bill's like, "Where are you
Yep.
going?" I'm like, "Well, I'm going to ride over to the other side of the lake." Like, just like that. I'm like, "Yeah, just I'll be back, and off I go."
Yeah. Well, that's
I
how
come
we
back
go to
like 2
dinner.
hours later. It's like, "Hey, I'm over
Well,
there."
some of the restaurants I go to, I will take a paddleboard because they're on the water,
Yeah.
or whatever kayak, whatever. I mean, I just love being outdoors.
I went, with Bill and I, now my husband is a very high mountain dirt bike, 4-wheeler. He was raised on dirt bikes. Everything is, you got to have an engine and a motor, and it's got to be fast, and it's got to be dangerous, and it has to be able to kill you. Like just
Mhm.
kayaking is like, it's not his jam, but he kayaks with me. But the first time we ever went kayaking together, we were on a cruise and we went kayaking in the Panama Canal.
Yeah.
Now, in the cruise, they say there's like snakes, and there's snakes in the trees, and there's monkeys in the trees. There's all this stuff. And I have that really super ornery streak about me. And I know he's nervous. He's got a life jacket, like he's like for life. He's just, and he's terrified something's going to get on him. So I started shaking that kayak back and forth so hard. And he's like wobbling all over, actually flips over. I swear to God, I thought that man was going to walk on water to get inside the boat. He was so terrified. I'm never going with you again. So we have 2 kayaks. He doesn't trust me to kayak with me anymore. So pretty funny. It's like, hey, you're fine. So at the end of the shows, I like to, well, first of all, let me kind of just take some notes.
Okay.
I would like to do a little bit of a review and just see if we were able to get like just this far into the mind of Gary Wilson. So you are 59, and girls, just reminding you that he's single and super fun and nice. So, and he's super cute too. And you have massive
I'm going to
passive.
live up to that.
Oh yeah, no, you're so cute.
That's good.
Massive passive cash flow product, real estate with GaryWilson.com. I love the fact that you were born in an army, in a field, like on a helicopter. It was happening, like, and you were in the Stars and Stripes magazine, like right out of the gate. So right out of the gate, you were already being published.
Yeah.
Super fun. When you were a teenager, you're shaving at 12. I love that. Doing football, being creative, playing sports. I'm building tents and forts and doing all the fun things like that. Designing at 8, paper out at 9. So you're working, you were doing things. I love the fact that you've done renting, management, wholesaling, brokerages, money, lending, appraising, title companies. I love all that. That's just like so great for everybody. And I love the thing that you're launching to have like a hub for all the things like that. So again, everybody, you want to definitely jump on board with that. And you love flank steaks that your mom cooks, and you love Led Zeppelin, and you love the beach.
That's it.
So, and you're awesome, and you have a great mind, and you're really, really creative. And I love all your ideas. You definitely have a good creative energy, and you have a good flow, and it serves you very well.
Thank you.
Now, at the end of the show, I like everyone that listens to me on the regular knows that I do something called the 5 equities of life. So they're financial, spiritual, physical, mental, family. And at the end of every show, I give an assignment, an equity with a short assignment. And I like the guests to honor us with that. So which equity would you like to give us? And what are you going to ask us to do this week?
Wow. Let's, let's shoot for the stars. Let's do the spiritual one.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So spiritual is our equity choice. And what is our assignment?
Okay. Here's your assignment. And if I can figure out how to do this, I will give you my instructions on how to do what I call a create a vision statement. But this is beyond what you and I have all learned in the past, like from Stephen Covey, love that man, learned from him
Yep.
back in 1989. And he starts with values, which are extremely important before we ever say goals. So here's the background. I would learn from other people, Tony Robbins, all the greats, Jim Rohn, and it also, you got to start with goals. You got to have goals. And then you got to make your plan. I'm like, man, there's more to it than this. I know it. There's missing chunks. Where's the glue? So I realized, before you write goals, you've got to have a really clear vision for your life, but it's not what you think. It's not your small mind. It's your big mind. It's what God wants for you. And if you're not a believer, then the higher power, the common consciousness, whatever you want to call it, it's there and it's real. I'm telling you, I experience it. Okay. You let that speak through you. You let your higher self, your spirit do the speaking when you're doing your writing. You write a story in retrospect, just like you're writing a movie script about your life. Okay. And all the rules do apply. No limits, no restrictions, no analysis, no critiquing, no prioritizing, no any of that stuff. You just write, and all kinds of things come out. I've had people say, man, I want to play the piano. That's part of their vision. And a vision should cover all environments of your life. Okay. Environments being your body, your mind, your spirit,
like the 5 equities. Wrap it all in. You got to cover
your
all
equities. That's it. Yep. Your vision, because they all affect each other. Okay. And you're one person in this beautiful thing we call life. And you're engaging with other people. Let the world see your true self. When I've had people do this, Dwan, come back to me in tears saying, Gary, I felt like I met myself for the first time. That's what I felt too. It's the exact words I use, and it happens all the time. And it, you got it when it gives you an emotional charge. It's like just like you're on fire. It's hard to describe that level of energy and ambition. And I'm telling you, you're listening to this, you are far more capable than what your small self believes you are. Okay. I promise you, the world is an abundant place and has all the resources you need to manifest any vision.
Yes,
so go after it. That's it.
And we're going to make a vision statement.
Yep.
Which sounds like a pretty big job, but everybody can do it. We're going to think bigger and have a vision.
Yep.
I love it. I love it. And I like the fact that you include all the different aspects, because I know when I first started, I was super all about making money. I was a single mom. I was really focused on money. But when you're really focused on one thing, the other areas of your life suffer.
Yep.
And that's why I tell people, like, listen, you got family, you've got spiritual, you've got money, you've got your physical health, you got your mind. Your mind can be your best friend and your worst enemy. So you got to take care of all of it in order to be fully successful. You got to take care of everything.
Yep. Well, here's a good way to really appreciate who you are and what it really means to do this is when I talk to people and we're discussing this, sometimes I get the analytical person, sort of the skeptic, and I'll say, look, right now you and I are having a conversation. I'm listening to you, you're listening to me, you're formulating a response to what I'm saying, you're compiling everything in your mind. All that, and I'd say, would you agree? And I say, yes. And I'll say, well, who's the you that's doing all that controlling? And then I stop them in their tracks and I say, that's the you that I'm speaking to right now. That's the person you want to live at that level, live at the spiritual level.
I love it. No, I'm a believer for decades and decades and decades. So I'm always on Sundays, my podcast on Sundays, I have a session called Business by the Book. So I'll always be preaching to everybody. And that's why I tell people, align with your moral compass. If you want to work with someone or learn from someone and you don't feel like, you have that vibe, if it doesn't feel right, that's not your person. Got to bring in the right person.
Well, the reality is, listening here, if you're, just hold on for a second. Let me bear with me here. I can teach you how to build wealth and income. All right. It's a mathematical certainty. The challenge is, though, you may or may not succeed. Okay. If you don't have alignment, you're just taking action and going through the moments. You'll make money, no doubt about it. But when you have alignment, okay, everything you do has meaning, and it's directly related to something else that you're passionate about that goes as part of your vision. Yeah. That's why I want you to do it. Yeah,
no, I'm with you. I love it. Typically, whatever the assignment is, I also do it because I'm like, I'm always looking for new and fun ideas and new things to do and to challenge myself too. So I like this assignment. All right, so folks, if you're new to Dwanderful, Dwanderful.com, super easy, DWANDERFUL, Dwanderful.com. Opt in over there. I have 4 free ebooks for you. So a lot of fun stuff for you to learn. And I want you to do me a favor. I want you to find Gary's podcast, and I want you to subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, talk about how great he is. I also want you to do the same thing for Dwanderful, because our podcasts grow because of listeners and subscribers and ratings and things like that. So those are important to us. So I always say, if you learned one tiny little thing, or if you laughed or had a good time, you got to do me a favor and you have to go and give us both. It's double today. You got to give us both a nice rating and a nice review. And because, we're all on the same team here. Gary and I are 2 people that are like-minded, and we're trying to help all of you reach goals and dreams and cut your learning curve. I mean, I feel like the biggest thing is cutting people's learning curve.
Yeah.
My learning curve was long. I had no trainers. There were no RIA groups back then. Nobody had computers. My learning curve was long. And the fact that people have everything at their fingertips, and they say, "Oh, give point a deal," it's like, no, don't even. I don't even want to hear those words out of your mouth. Okay, so now I'm going to ask you to do something. I need you to give us a parting word of wisdom, but it has to be just one single word, a parting word, not a sentence, a word. Leave us with a word.
Persevere.
Ooh.
Yep.
Good word. So I never tell anybody about that ahead of time, because I want to see what really comes out of your heart.
Yeah.
Persevere. That is a great word, folks. Persevere. That is a great word to live by. And our equity this week is spiritual, and we're going to work on a vision statement. And I love that too. So Gary, I just want to really thank you for being a guest on the most wonderful real estate podcast ever. And we're super excited, and I'm excited to follow and all your success and all the things that you have going. And everyone over here, we just appreciate your time and your energy. And you have been super amazing and super fun today.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate the opportunity to help and serve others, and everybody listening, God bless you and your families. And, don't ever give up on your dream. Persevere. Can I give them one quick little funny? 10 seconds?
Yeah. Give us something funny.
So early on, I bought my first property, and just a coincidental introduction to a gentleman who had like 30,000 units. So sitting there talking, and I'm like feeling like I'm gonna mumble and stutter and shake and sweat and all this kind of stuff. So he's telling me about all this for about 15 minutes, and I felt like I got to say something. So I try to build all the confidence. Going to say, hey, check this out, man. I got a duplex. I'm like, what can I come up with? So wherever you are, whether it's even if you don't have anything, just remember, me and the guy with 30,000 units all started from scratch. We had to get that first one. So I don't care if it's a duplex, a single, or 10. Just go after it, persevere, and get it.
I agree. Amen. That is true words to live by. So everybody, remember, we'll be back next week, same bat time, same bat channel. And remember, the truth is in the red letters. All right, everybody. Ciao. Gary, thank you again. Everyone say goodbye to Gary.
Hi, everyone. See you next time.
Thank you for dropping by to the most wonderful real estate podcast ever, making real estate investment wonderful each and every time. And for more information on how to make your real estate dreams a reality, keep an eye on Dwanderful.com and be sure to become a member.